Welcome to the news review segment. We're going to dig into the papers and more this morning. Joining me, Manuel, ranting more like a brother. Good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How's it going?
Yeah, but you're just up to mischief. That's the whole bit. Always up to some mischief.
All of these accusations.
Some mischief or other.
All of these accusations cannot be.
Do you want me to expose you live on air?
I mean, it's your call because I
thought you would dare me.
It's your call. I mean, I have nothing to hide.
I would expose the sort of concoctions you've been eating.
I'm like drinking, an open book.
And
my life is an open book. And all those who see me on the field and speak to me can attest to the fact that
I shall spare you. I shall spare you this morning. I shall be more decorous to you than you were the other day.
That's what happens to people who have no proof of what they speak of.
Oh.
Yes, they eventually backtrack and say, "Oh, I want to."
For those of you watching, I'm just going to be nice to Manuel Granting this morning. But I just saw this post from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And it talks about commencement of investigations in respect of recruitment to cadet officers training at the Ghana Police Academy. You remember?
Yeah.
Now, it says the Office of the Special Prosecutor has commenced full investigations into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses in respect of the recruitment exercise of Course 51 of cadet officers training. It talks about the investigation targeting specific cases of alleged corruption and corruption-related offenses of the use of the office for profit, abuse of office, abuse of power, favoritism, nepotism, victimization, and the selection of unqualified persons.
And you remember that this issue came up quite strongly when it emerged that about some 6 police officers really were involved in these bullion van attack that we've seen in the past a couple of months. And it really, brings to question the sort of training and so on that some of these officers undergo before they are called up into the service. I mean, it's a welcome investigation. That only have you
have a bit of a worry.
Well, not so much of a worry. I expect result. So I mean, this is what the umpteenth statement.
I mean, the thing hasn't even commenced. So
the point I'm making is that instead of telling us that you're commencing investigations, you should tell us that your investigations have found A, B, C, D. That's rather something I'd want to read.
That Kisia Jabing, a former lecturer of mine, by the way, is talking too much. And that he should do more and talk less. I'm going to do, have some results, palpable, something to show, and then you come to the Ghanaians, the masses, and tell them this is what we've done. But it appears I will do this.
And I watched his interview on another network sometime last year, and he spoke big. And
are you worried about that? Do you think he's setting himself up for failure in any way?
Oh, well, he seemed to have had a clear picture of what he wanted to achieve in that office.
Right.
And if indeed what he said was anything to go by, we're expecting more results, at least by the end of the first half of the year. Because, I mean, quite swiftly, even after he took office, he moved the Special Prosecutor's office from its old building to the new building.
Right.
One of the actions which sort of propelled the office into now, working properly. Because at the time, Martin Amidu had said that they were constrained and so on and so forth. We're told of clearance for recruitment and all of that. So let's see how that goes. Except, and I'm insisting again, that I'd rather see a statement that says the Special Prosecutor's Office has investigated and has found A, B, C, D, than a statement that says that Special Prosecutor's Office is going to, investigate. In any case, that is the reason the Special Prosecutor's Office was set up.
Right.
And so it's almost like saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to do what you asked me to do in a statement. And I don't think that cuts for much, Ben.
It doesn't cut it for you, right?
Especially because we've seen several others from Martin Amidu, quite the same fashion. And so, I mean, it doesn't give me results.
Right. Let's also take a quick look right before we delve into the papers. How is the economy biting you personally?
is it? So
how is the economy biting you? I mean, you don't have to fuel a car yet. You don't have to.
Well, I do.
But I know you're making certain expenses that you've taken upon yourself that
I feel like
ordinarily you wouldn't have. But
let's just stay on it. I mean,
you're taking care of some people's daughters.
Yes, I have nieces, and so I mean they are not my daughters.
Which nieces?
Nieces, you know, my.
No. Which nieces?
Oh,
which ones?
I have.
I'm talking of the other ones.
Which other ones?
Okay, we are live on air, so you are.
Okay, so my nieces. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for watching. But
today they are nieces.
But I guess the point I'm making is that whether directly or indirectly, everybody, insofar as you commute from one point to the other, in a bid to make your ends meet, you fuel a car. Whether by trotro, whether by taxi, whether by ride-hailing apps, whether by your own vehicle, you, one way or the other, fuel a vehicle.
Did you ever anticipate that diesel, for example, would hit 11 cedis, 11 pesos? And for me, this is the first time I've heard of, I mean, people openly talking about borrowing fuel, like Miko Free.
Yeah.
Borrow fuel, and after you've made your gains, then you go and pay and add maybe 5 cedis or 10 cedis to it. I've never heard of such an instance. I'm not saying it has never existed, but to this extent where a number of drivers, commercial drivers, say we have to borrow and we're not even able to make our sales. That for me hits me. And you know, I had never, prior to this period, I had never, looked at the liters. You know what you fill? It'll tell you, for example.
I mean, you told me about it last time. For the rich
this
folks,
is 20 liters. I had never paid attention. Now I actually
now you have to,
because I know I've checked what the consumption of my car is. When it's full, how many liters will go in there? And now when I fill from the pump, I'm checking to see, okay, so today with this adjustment, how many liters am I getting?
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
And there's, a domino effect from just the increase in fuel prices. Or yesterday, we heard from the Deputy Energy Minister, Andre Japamesa, who said that the government was now considering a proposal to scrap, or if you like, suspend some 3 levies or taxes on the price build-up of petroleum products. And the question is that, I mean, did we have to wait all this while to get here? Because, I mean, when you check the price build-up, you have in excess of 2 Ghana cedis, which don't go to the core of the price of the product itself.
Right.
These are levies and taxes and so on and so forth. And I mean, at a time where everyone is crunching, at the mercy of the global economic situation and all of that, you'd have expected a bit of action sometime earlier. But we're also learning this morning that there's a high-powered government delegation.
Oh, yes.
If you like.
I was going to reserve that for later, but since you brought it up, let's do that quickly before we get
that is meeting at the Pediassi Lodge essentially to brainstorm and
is this a new century consensus?
if you like,
it's interesting.
If you like, and
how things are panning out. Some things that are being repeated.
The only drift is that this time round, opposition is not invited. This is government, high-powered, the executive, members of parliament, members of parliament,
economic management team,
right. Cabinet members, and leading members of the NPP. So these are party people. And we're told that beyond fashioning out a response to the economic situation, this is also to be able to align all of them to be able to defend, as it were, the policies and programs that would be churned out of this particular meeting. It waits to be seen whether or not this meeting actually becomes a panacea to the problem. Tonight, though, on Ghana Connect, we're asking a question. If you think this meeting will actually be able to solve the problem as we've seen, or eventually we should, go to...
Are you asking me?
I mean, we're asking you, and of course, our dissent...
You want to know my answer?
What's your answer?
My final answer for 3 points.
What's your answer?
I don't want to be... my bluntness might offend some people, but I'll tell you what, meetings in this country often culminate in zilch. Zero. Nothing. But I'm saying that if upon meeting, they adopt the right solutions, looking at our national context, I believe we can make a headway. So that's what I feel. If it's just going to be another one of those meetings, zero. But if they take the hard decisions, look, elsewhere in the world, people are downsizing, cutting down on executive expenditure, cutting down on expenditure across the board, the arms of government. Is our government willing to do that? Are they willing to take it up and say that the executive, maybe our salaries, we are slashing by this, we're even going to cut the numbers? Can't they cut ministers? Are you telling me they can't cut down on the list of ministers?
On the
Are you saying they can't cut down on salaries on staffers at the presidency, for example? Are you saying that we can't break down certain things and save money? We can.
On the contrary, though, what we've seen...
Add that to some of the proposals about taking off a few taxes here and there. We can do something. But the question is, will they do it?
And on the contrary, Ben, the point I'm making is that instead of these things that you're talking about, we've had leading members of government in parliament and in executive make suggestions about actually cutting down on government flagship policies which go to affect the poorest of the poor. For instance, free SHS. We've heard Kennedy Osenyako say that, you know what, let's cut down the free SHS. Let's suspend it.
I think he was speaking sarcastically.
Well, he's defending
away, free SHS, planting for food and jobs. And he's basically saying, I saw the sarcasm in there. He's basically saying, so the social interventions that we are using money to, bring about 1D, 1F and the rest.
You don't like.
If you don't like them, let's scrap them and then use that money to channel. But
how about Ben?
I find that distasteful and unfortunate because you know why? You gave promises to people. You cannot say now that we're going to scrap some of the social interventions just to it doesn't, logically speaking, it doesn't follow any pattern of I'm sorry. It means that you are failing to deliver on certain aspects. It doesn't mean that you must pull down other policies to be able to deliver. What even have been the gains, major gains from some of them? When you want to scrutinize some of them, Charlie.
And instead of scrapping free SHS, for instance, how about scrapping free fueling of the vehicles of these Article 71 office holders? Well, how about that? How about cutting down
free fuel is way because sometimes we stretch it, and parliamentarians, for example, don't get free fuel. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about these Article 71 officers, predominantly. These government workers. So how about cuts down on that? Than cuts down on free SHS, which affects, the poor 16-year-old in a village somewhere.
For me, I think
who would never make it.
I'll just put it bluntly. It was unfortunate for him to have made that statement, but it's been made anyway, whether in jest or otherwise. It's been made. Let's quickly look at the papers, Manuel. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper ahead of rainy season, and again, something I simply cannot take seriously in this country when we talk about dealing with, the perennial flooding and all of that. Will arrest, prosecute polluters of Korle Lagoon. In this country, we are we will, we shall, and we never do. Anyway, Works Minister warns as he inspects dredging projects. And when I sound like this, don't get me wrong. I'm reflecting what has happened over different administrations over, close to 30 plus years. Same rhetoric. How can you have a country? Look at this. Look at what you're seeing. It's pathetic. Parliament adjourned sitting for lack of quorum. Bakavoma were finally bailed. He posted two sideways, that the eyes looking sideways. And you should see the likes and the comments that were posted. 2 die following renewed chieftaincy clashes in Jantong. That's it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
The Daily Graphic, reporting truth and accuracy every day, says stop polluting or dust storm drain. Maintenance cost mounting. That's Asenso Boache from pretty much the same story that you read earlier. And I think the story which, I was with the minister yesterday, and the story for me is that there's a major flood alert because the 10-kilometer storm drain, which starts all the way at Caprice and flows right into the ocean at the Korle exit. It was divided into 5 phases. And the first 4 phases actually have been done, completed. But when you visit these sites of these first 4 phases, you get an indication that it's almost as though there was no work at all. And this is why. improper waste disposal. So you have this plastic debris right back into the storm drain,
Right.
the silt going back into it, and then you're also having people encroaching the what you would call buffer.
Yeah.
Because when the silt
When you do that, the
it-
result can only be one.
exactly.
When the floodwaters hit, they will hit whatever you've put along
Exactly.
those buffer zones. But I mean, nothing. I don't get this country really, because sometimes we complain about we have some of the best laws, regulations, but the implementation, no, we are not willing to go the extra mile. And sometimes it's because of political capital. Look, outside a typical example, Henry Quartey, Greater Accra Regional Minister, started really well. And I think he's still on a very good course. But you would realize that he's toned down on certain things from what we've heard from the grapevine. We all know some of these things are what impede the progress of the country, because you clear people from the streets, you do this.
back.
Next thing you know, your own party people are telling you, hey, my guy, Charlie,
I want to
this
talk
thing
about mine.
it's not inuring to the benefit of.
Yeah.
So we'll never make any progress once we keep flip-flopping like this.
And the minister, you see, if you look at the front page of the Daily Graphic, okay, you see just beyond the lagoon, or if you like the drain, you have a heap of sand and sawdust where you have some wooden structures there. And these are squatters.
Right.
Squatters who are now encroaching their buffer zones.
So it started.
It's in fact it's there.
This
And
is
the minister was there.
So
The minister is seeing it.
this is the start of how things degenerate. But they'll wait for things to degenerate, and then there will be attempts, to demolish when you could have prevented all of this when it was. When you have a small sore and you don't allow it to fester, you can deal with it quickly.
Yeah.
You allow it to fester and
Stitch in time, as they say.
gangrene and all of that, then you have a bigger problem.
So Parliament fails to approve loan agreement for second time in 2 weeks, 22-page number, and 3 ministers directed to brief Parliament on Boku on page 30. And the Finance Minister here calling for credit rating reforms. I'll run you through the publisher quickly. Minister slams irresponsible waste disposal behavior. Krapa rally stakeholders for export strategy implementation. The picture of Herbert Krapa, Deputy Trades Minister. Now, Magdan Aviation losing millions of dollars over the airport company's closure of terminal. And more workers, we're told, are being laid off. The picture of the new airport's boss, Pamela Jamson Tete, and government committed to SDGs, Chief of Staff speaking. And you have Ambrose Derry's photo on 3 MPs summoned to brief Parliament on the Boku tensions, man.
Let me get into the Daily Guide newspaper. Sanction non-performing contractors. Martina J. Mensah Kosa pictured there speaking to the issues. Bagbin requests extra $50,000 from Dubai. That is what the Daily Guide newspaper says. Chief of Staff denies Efia Schwarzenegger's 50K donation. Have you got 50K drop into your account? I know you could have done a lot with that.
Yeah,
You could have bought a lot of fuel with 50,000.
One day.
Anyway.
Akoko Berry.
But you will not be bereaved in Jesus' name. So,
Amen.
yeah. NDC plots to frustrate Parliament and Opuni trial back on track. But speaking of lists, which list would you think your name would appear on any day
If what?
a list, if there were any lists that your name would appear on?
No, my name will not be on.
Yeah, you have to take a quick sneak peek at,
Oh, no.
at the
Hey,
paper. And
no. But that list, if your name appears on that list.
Some are alleging.
But
I saw Capito, Stephen Appiah, put out something that no.
Quickly.
I have nothing. In fact, she came and took a picture with me, and she here, by the way, is Abnakoko. She came and just took a picture with me and all of that. And some people said, "Oh, we believe you." But people said that, hey, if she takes a picture with you, he means.
How do you validate the list?
Anyway, how do
you validate the list?
How do you validate the list? But that's a question. People have suggested that.
But I mean, should we even be validating?
Abna should be taken on in terms of some of her pronouncements, because in the end, can you really validate, like you're saying, or authenticate that whatever she's alleging happened?
Yeah, your story is here. Special prosecutor hands for fake cops on the Republic Press as a banner headline. Government to tackle escalating fuel prices soon.
Right.
And as GPLTU threatens to increase fares from next week and partner to fight cybercrime in Africa. Akufo-Addo hosts cabinet in crucial meeting over e-levy, fuel price hike, and economic hardship. And then, of course, Mbaka Vomawo release and the Republic Press reporters at Cool Coat, Hero and Coat finally released. They describe Mbaka Vomawo as a cool hero. Finally, with me is a final newspaper. Ghanaian
What
TV,
have they found?
The Ghanaian TV channels to go global. That's according to Information Minister Kojo Pon-Kroma. And Nana B deserves national organizer position. It's Apenyo Markin. I saw on his Facebook heaping a mammoth of praises on Nana B. Anyways, government to scale up investment to tackle road safety issues. This is according to President Akufo-Addo. And Golden Star Wasa donates $200,000 to a Piazze support fund.
Right.
And Ben, when are you bringing your donation for the Piazze rebuilding?
Me and Kasa, I need donations. I mean, not to denigrate what they're going through. Horrific. You wouldn't want to go through that. But me and Kasa, I need some donations. Are you? What are you starting with? How much Momo will you send me?
Yeah.
At least now that
more
taxes will not hit it, how much are you going to send?
We are what do you call them? Secret donors. So we don't trumpet our donations. But
Right.
I mean, our hearts and prayers really are with the victims of the Apiate disaster.
Most definitely.
And this is something that the chiefs there feared, that the next big thing was going to pop up on the screens and in the news, and we're going to forget them and relegate them to the background.
Definitely
I am
not.
afraid to admit there's something that seems to be happening. Ben?
I don't think so, but we'll get there. Two papers to wrap with BNFT. There's AU to set up Africa-owned credit rating agency, and there's GMRA continues to enhance interbank liquidity funding. To wrap the custodian newspaper, Akufo-Addo bemoans high road crashes. Terrible. But now who caused them? Traffic lights not working, bad roads, and we ourselves as drivers too. And even pedestrians. Charlie, sometimes you see someone crossing, you slow down. If you watch the way the person is crossing, like taking their pretty time to...
What's your problem with somebody taking
just have to
cross the road?
You just have to be patient, because sometimes...
That's what you need, patience. When driving,
Anyway.
Please, I'm looking into your eyes, ladies and gentlemen who drive on the road. If a pedestrian is crossing, have patience. Please.
They are now taking their time to show you what exactly they have got.
No, but
anyway, just to wrap, a great milestone to an amazing wife and mother. May this day bring you lots of blessings and happiness, lots of love. It's from your husband, Raphael, and the kids, Haley, Kweku, and Heidi, to Valerie Tansen. And so a very, very happy birthday to you. That's how we wrap on the news review. Up next, sports. Do stay.